class was really cool today.
Yeah, I really like learning about the Civil War.
Same. I wish we could focus on more of the battles.
Same. Which one's your favorite?
Probably the Battle of Appomattox.
Oh my god, that's my favorite.
Wow, that's so cool. How's your grade looking in this class right now?
Not good. I still have some extra credit work to get my grade on.
Wait, I have a perfect idea.
What?
We should make a video about the Battle of Appomattox and show it to Wolf.
That's such a good idea, but where do we start?
With the war reaching a close, the Confederacy was desperate for a win. The South needed something to lift up their soldiers' spirits in order to give them the courage they would need to win the war. Nearby Richmond, Virginia, the Battle of Appomattox took place. It was one of the last battles of the Civil War. While retreating from the Union after a tough loss at Fort Stedman, as General Ely looked for refuge and supplies at Amelia Courthouse, the Union was cutting in close behind them. Lee, noticing the Union close behind, changed his course westward. Lee and his men found refuge once again, but lost some of his men along the way when the two armies collided at the Appomattox River. The Union General Ulysses S. Grant was smart and kept Lee on his toes. Although Grant couldn't keep him from crossing the river, Lee lost 8,000 of his men. On the day of the actual battle, the smell of danger was palpable. Grant and Lee both knew the importance of the battle for the trajectory of the war. Lee stopped his men to gather supplies, only to find Union General Philip H. Sheridan and his men blocking the Appomattox station. The next day, Lee and his men, under the command of General John B. Jordan, attacked Sheridan's army. In a bold move, Lee decided to lead his 27,000 men against Grant's 63,000. Surprisingly, though, the Confederate cavalry held their own at first and drew back the Union's horsemen.
Our troops have the Union back, but I need support from our infantry.
I can't. The Union has us surrounded and all our infantry is fighting us back.
But how am I going to keep them held back without our infantry?
I don't know. There's just too many of them.
I don't think we can hold them much longer.
I know.
What are we going to do?
There's only one thing we can do. Surrender.
Lee, realizing the situation, decided to call Grant in for a meeting to discuss the surrender. Lee arrived on time, but Grant arrived a half hour late. Grant agreed to not charge Lee's men with treason and just took their weapons and put them on parole instead. The victory for the Union marked the end of the war for Virginia, but not for the rest of the country.
Ugh, I love that battle.
I know, it's so good.
My favorite part was when Grant came like an hour late to the meeting with Lee.
Same, that's so funny.
This was really fun. I'm gonna turn it into Mr. Wolf now.
Wait, we can't turn it into a Civil War project without talking about one of the most important events.
What's that?
Lincoln's assassination, duh.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. How could I forget about that?
How do we start, though?
Well,
Smart. This stupid union won't know what to do without their dumb leaders.
I called dibs on Lincoln, though.
Ugh, I wanted Lincoln.
I'll find him when he's not expecting me, then kidnap him and make them pay me millions.
Guys, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Fine, I'm doing my own thing now. Six up for Tyrannus.
Booth never originally intended to kill the 16th President of the United States. At first, Booth and his conspirators had a plan to kidnap multiple important Union political leaders for ransom money. However, people in Booth's group kept chickening out of the plan, and eventually Booth decided to go his own way.
gosh, imagine how different America would be if Booth didn't kill Lincoln.
I know, Reconstruction would have been so different. Wolf said that Lincoln's plan was pretty much a slap on the wrist, so imagine how different and more progressive things would have been if Lincoln was able to carry out his plan.
It's really cool to think about. Should I go turn it in now?
Not yet. I feel like we're still missing something important.
What could we miss? We have the battle, we have Lincoln's assassination. What else is there to talk about?
Oh, I know.
What?
The Civil War amendments.
Oh, duh.
How could we forget about that? Okay, after this we can actually turn it in and get our extra credit.
Okay, perfect.
How should we start with this one though?
The Civil War amendments were groundbreaking for their time. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments opened doors for countless African Americans who were recently oppressed. They also gave America room to grow and progress in their beliefs and ideas. Although African Americans weren't truly free yet, they at least had a start to what would become a long, hard fight for equal rights. The 13th Amendment, one of the most important of the amendments and the most important of the Civil War amendments, was the abolition of slavery. Passed before the war even ended, the 13th Amendment freed every single African American slave. However, when the South tried to find a way around this, claiming that African Americans weren't American citizens, the 14th Amendment was passed, stating that any person born on U.S. soil was an American citizen. This was an extremely good thing for the North, where most of the working immigrants lived. This meant a bright, promising future for their children, and also ensured African Americans their deserved rights. However, there were still some essential rights missing, the right to vote. The 15th Amendment fixed this, allowing for all black men to vote. This amendment now gave African Americans a say in what goes on in their country.